Welcome back to NewsLife. House plenary debates on the proposed Bangsamoro Basic Law are scheduled for the week of May this year. The House ad hoc panel is set to make amendments to the legislation before it is submitted for plenary deliberations. More from Freddie Abando.
The House Ad Hoc Committee, chaired by Congressman Rufus Rodriguez, will conduct its final review to propose amendments or refinements to the draft Bangsamoro Basic Law to be submitted for plenary debate starting May 18. The inputs of the five-man Peace Council led by former Chief Justice Hilario Davido Jr. will be crucial to the passage to implement the peace agreement between the government and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. It was the consensus of the Peace Council that the proposed law is compliant with the Constitution and is the only alternative to bring peace to a region in Mindanao exposed to more than 4 decades of war.
In sum, the BBL complies with the Constitution's mandate for the creation of autonomous regions within the framework of the Constitution, sovereignty, as well as territorial integrity of the Republic of the Philippines.
Overall, we agreed that the BBL is overwhelmingly acceptable and deserves the support of all Filipinos. On the few provisions that needed some refinement, we offer our recommendations. The conveners were agreed that they undertook a limited task to give an independent evaluation of the BBL in terms of the most contentious arguments raised against them. And the exercise has given them the conviction that the BBL should be passed. That to set it aside now would be wasteful of previous efforts, and to set it aside now would be foolhardy. Peacemakers on both sides have spent no less than 17 years to bring us to this juncture. There is enough goodwill on both sides to bring this agreement to its conclusion, one that would renew and refresh communities in the most deprived regions of the country with a genuine start.
Former Chief Justice Hilario Davido Jr. defended the grant of a block grant for the proposed Bangsamoro entity. The grant will provide the resources to finance and fund the initial stages of development proposed by the Bangsamoro Development Agency.
As regards the fiscal autonomy provisions, we do not find any constitutional infirmity in the provisions of the BBL. The block grant is not akin to the PDAF that was declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. The block grant referred to in the BBL is similar to the Internal Revenue Allotment era under the Local Government Code. In fact, the wording of BBL's Article 12, Section 15-17 is very similar to the local government's formulation in Section 284 and Section 286. Similar to the provisions concerning the era for ordinary local governments, the block grant for the autonomous region is adherence to the constitutional mandate that local governments shall have a just share as determined by law in the national taxes, which shall be automatically released to them.
Former NEDA Chief Chalito Habito Baird, peace will enhance development in the core areas of the proposed Bangsamoro territory. Budget Secretary Butchabad stressed it will boost the expansion of its economy far beyond its borders to other countries in ASEAN and even the Middle East.
It's useful to the positive aspects of having a Bangsamoro government. For example, the attraction of new markets. I personally like to point out in many of my talks that even though Muslims may be a minority in the Philippines and even in Mindanao, they are the majority in Southeast Asia, in the ASEAN economic community. And therefore, the tremendous market opportunities for which Muslim Mindanao or Bangsamoro is very well positioned for, really presents a very good opportunity, especially for the Bangsamoro. Also, of course, are the Middle Eastern market, the tremendously growing Islamic market worldwide. So we believe that there are, in fact, tremendous opportunities in the Bangsamoro region once we are able to get its economy going.
That the Bangsamoro Command, if and when it is created by the central government, not by the Bangsamoro government, will still be under DFP Chief of Staff and is similar to existing commands in Mindanao, such as the Western Mindanao Command, Westmincom. On the Bangsamoro Police, although the Article 11, Section 2 explicitly states that the Bangsamoro Police shall be a part of the Philippine National Police, this has not stopped fears and speculations about the police turning into their own army, or more recently, about the possibility of those involved in the Mamasapano incident becoming part of the Bangsamoro Police in the future. The creation of the Bangsamoro Police does not make it distinct from the existing PNP. The reform of rebranding that is actually in consonance with current reform measures within the PNP, which seeks to clean up its ranks.
Finally, the Chief Justice stressed the draft law ensures the MILF will not make any attempt for secession in the future.
By engaging in a peace process, it will become difficult for the MILF to gain international recognition, a necessary requirement to gain full sovereignty if they attempt to secede. Rather than facilitating secession, the participation of nation-states and other international actors and entities in the peace process make them witness to the fact that secession is outside intent or scope of the BBL, and that the Constitution prevails in all matters.
For the People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando reporting.